Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a video that I've wanted to share for a very long time. I've actually sat down to film it a couple of times, and if you guys have been following my vlogs recently, you'll know that last time I sat down several weeks ago and filmed this, I couldn't bring myself to watch the footage. I had a really hard time grappling with the whole topic, to be honest. So originally I had the intention of sitting down and talking about body image and how we perceive it and all that stuff, and then it ended up kind of becoming a self-deprecating video and a lot of my struggles. So I realized when I finally sat down this week to view the footage that it was probably best if I took the approach of sharing my challenges and my journey with my body. So body image and me. So one of the things that happened last time I filmed was I felt like I was very rambly and very all over the place, so I tried to gather all of my thoughts to share them in the most meaningful way. But I apologize if I do end up going on small tangents around the various things to share. Body image in general is a very challenging thing to talk about, and obviously in recent decades, I can say that now because I'm almost 30, that we've been trying to do a much better job in the media showing various bodies. And I know that my friend Leslie of Leslie Hampton, as a fashion designer, has strived her entire career to have body inclusivity and having models that represent all walks of life. And she's been praised for that globally, which is phenomenal, and I'm obviously so proud of her for that. I know Aerie as a company doesn't touch up their models and images, and all of these things are working to better this conversation. But one thing I have a hard time with is that the challenge for me is I support body positivity for everybody else. I will be your cheerleader, your ride or die, but I cannot support it for myself. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who has that issue. I want to make sure everyone feels their best and does their best and all that stuff. And I think that also kind of comes into one of the reasons why my day job is a teacher. And I'm always there to be your number one. But I struggle so hard to be my number one. And I have other reasons why that's a struggle, and that's tied in with my journey. But that's the one thing that I have a really hard time with. So as much as I want to promote body positivity, I struggle with myself. The reason that I wanted to kind of do this video in the first place, other than putting my story out there, was the fact that I want to share more fitness content on here. It's something that I want to say is important to me, although I don't dedicate myself to it the way I once did. Fitness is important. And you don't need to be like a jacked fitness model or like a gym buff. Like, you don't need to be like that, as long as you're healthy. And again, that is one of those issues that I've had, is I've never been unhealthy. So me always wanting better for myself has been hard. So with wanting to share my fitness, that brings you to a bit of a vulnerable place. You feel like you're kind of putting yourself out there. My issue is that I've never needed to lose weight. I've always wanted to. You guys will know if you've been following me for a long time, any New Year's resolution or goal for the year video, I've always had lose weight or tone it up. I think ever since I hit 100 pounds as a kid, over 100 pounds, I always wanted to go back to 100, back to 100. And I know that that's not reasonable, especially now. I know that I would be absolutely sickly if I somehow managed to drop to 100 pounds. Growing up, I never compared myself to celebrities. I never had that issue. Like, I read a lot of magazines as a kid, but I never worried about what they looked like or what I looked like. And I think one of the reasons is I knew my body type. Maybe I didn't know the proper name for it back then, but I'm very proud 5'3", but I have a short torso. And my short torso is one of the banes of my existence. I've got long legs, again, for my height. My legs are long, my torso is short, but I also have a really large rib cage. And this has played into some body confidence issues growing up, because having such a large rib cage detracts from my chest, which growing up, I always felt like I had to prove my size, because I don't actually look, and to this day, you would never believe me. And now I don't care. Now it doesn't faze me what size I am, what someone else thinks I am. But growing up, you want people to believe you. But I'm of the mindset now that if the bra fits, who cares? But the rib cage issue has always kind of been a little bit of a sore spot for me. And I have joked, like, growing up that I'd get ribs removed, not knowing that people actually did that. I wouldn't actually do that. But it was always something that I was like, oh, I wish I could just do this. Again, with my size, I have always been the same size. I have been about the same size since I was in grade 8, since I was 13, and I'm turning 30 this year. I have pants from when I was in grade 8 that still fit as dress pants. So that's been so hard for me, because as much as it sounds like a really big accomplishment, because I've never had to buy bigger clothes, I've never had that like reality check that I've been gaining weight, but I can tell based off of my level of comfort in my clothes. And obviously, speaking through the pandemic, a lot of stuff has gone on in the last year. And nobody holds it against anybody if you were one of those people that gained weight during lockdown or like absolutely fit AF, all right? So there was the two extremes. And I gained a little bit of weight during the pandemic, that's for sure. But I never changed sizes, but I started feeling more uncomfortable in my clothes. And during the pandemic, there were times where all I wanted to do was wear one of Scott's t-shirts and wear leggings, high-waisted leggings. I felt like I was sucked in. And that's all I wanted to wear. I didn't feel comfortable in my jeans, like my favorite super stretchy jeans that I love, wasn't happy in them. T-shirts, wasn't happy in them. And not necessarily because of my torso, but like even my arms. My arms, and in women in general, when you start to lose weight and tone up, your arm is one of the first places to show it. And for me, whenever I have any weight fluctuation, I am lucky that it kind of evenly distributes itself. I don't gain it particularly around my midsection or my butt or my arms. I am grateful that it kind of spreads the love. But in recent years, like my arms have been a sore spot for me. Like I'll be in a photo and I'll pose, and obviously being online, I want to share outfit photos. But if I feel lackluster wearing anything but leggings and one of Scott's t-shirts, no one wants to see that. And there's times where I pose and my arms look and make me look so much larger than I am. And it's heartbreaking. It's really hard to put yourself on the internet when you're not happy with it and then you're waiting for someone else to tell you that you shouldn't be happy with the way that you look. So I will say that in high school, I was 134 pounds, but again, didn't look heavy. My dad's always been very health conscious, so if I was ever borderline for an issue, then like he would have been on it. So if my dad wasn't up my nose about working out and losing weight or being fit, I shouldn't say losing weight, losing inches. That's what my father would say, losing inches, not weight, because inches are more important than pounds. But if he wasn't up my nose about it, then I was doing all right. And we ate really well, so it was what it was. Then when I moved to university, my dad and I actually moved cities for university. We moved from a bungalow to a townhouse, the counterpart to my house here. And we lost, I think I lost 10 to 15 pounds. And through university, average weight was 118 pounds to 121 pounds. And I was still annoyed when I was 121. And I was like, why can't I be 118, 119, sounds so stupid. I would absolutely kill to be 120 pounds again. My current goal is actually 125. University was good. I went to the gym a lot, so we had a really epic gym at my university, and at one point in my first year university, I think it was second term, I was going like 5 days a week for about just over a month, I think. And although I didn't keep that up, I loved it. I loved going to the gym. I would get frustrated if I didn't get to go to the gym. I had friends asking me to help them work out. So I was helping people and I was loving it. And then, you graduate. And when I graduated and finished Teachers College, I actually moved to the UK. So fast forward to 2014, moved to the UK, was planning to be there for a year, potentially 2 years if everything went smoothly. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. I moved mid-August and I was home by Christmas. And it was very, very tough. While I was away, my anxiety had reached a level that I had never before seen in my life. Never before. And I don't even think that I was eating poorly. I don't even think it was like, I wasn't sitting there and like shoveling ice cream or cereal or like crappy food into my body, but I put on some weight. But I didn't own a scale, so I had no idea. So when I had left my job in London, I moved up north to stay with some family who were literally angels sent from above for me. I lived with them for probably about 3 weeks before my flight home to Canada, and I jumped on their scale. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, in the UK, they also weigh by stone, not just like kilos or pounds. So when I jumped on the scale, it was like, oh, this stone and pounds, or like some weird combination. And I had no idea what that meant. And then I Googled it, and whew, I damn near died. I was absolutely mortified because it was the heaviest I had ever been in my life. And I think the equivalent when I converted it was 140, 142, which for some people is a healthy weight, a good weight. There's nothing wrong with numbers, but for my body, my frame, it was too much. So that was like another blow to me, already feeling down on myself for leaving a job that I thought was going to be amazing, and it just didn't pan out that way. So I was already feeling very down. So that just took me down a whole few more notches. So with my anxiety, I did go through a bout of depression around that time, and it was weird to me, and I don't think I really knew it right away, because I was like, I'm past all the hard stuff. Like, I'm with family now, I'm safe, I'm going home. But I think there was a compounding of lots of things, and 6 months prior to that, I had ended a long-term relationship, and that wasn't going to be fixed when I came back home. And I think I just had a lot of things weighing me down, that when I was finally out of having to work and just kind of existing, it all kind of fell into place, and I felt really, really crappy. So past that, when I moved back home to Canada, being with my dad, having regular meals again, I think I dropped about 10 pounds, and so I was back to about 130, and I was never able to drop the last 10 pounds. And in the last, I guess that's about 6 years now, my weight has gone between about 130 and then again close to 140 at my high point. So I get very triggered, and I don't use that word lightly. I actually really hate when people use that word in like regular conversation. I don't like that. But for me, seeing that number on the scale brings back so much trauma, basically. Without trying to sound overly dramatic, it's very heart-wrenching for me. And so I'm trying, and again, because I've never needed to lose the weight, and I don't look overweight or look fat to most people, it's very hard to stay motivated. So as much as I hate myself some days, and I'm like, ugh, you look disgusting, pants don't fit nice, you look blah, 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 insert self-deprecation phrase here. There's some days where I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling cute today, I'm feeling skinny, I'm feeling happy. So my issue with consistency is because of that. And I always try and do these challenges. I have never in my life finished a fitness challenge. Ever. Not a 30-day calendar, not a Chloe Ting challenge, so I'll leave that in the cards of how I failed the Chloe Ting challenge not once but twice. I've not ever finished any of it. And the hard thing for me is personal support. I have the personal support, but sometimes I don't like the personal support. So the personal support for me goes one of two ways. I have the people in my life who tell me that I look fantastic, I look great, I look healthy, this is a healthy body, this is an adult body, you're not a prepubescent teenager or a late teenager, and that you need to embrace what you have, because this is what your body needs. And then I have the support of like Scott, so I'm like, oh, let's work out together, but our schedules don't always allow for that. But when he tells me, hey, go work out, like if I tell him, remind me or like encourage me, when someone tells me what to do, I don't like to do it. I know that sounds stupid, but I know I'm not the only one, because I've seen TikToks of people who are like, I'm gonna go do the dishes for my parents, and the parents are like, oh, you're doing the dishes? And you're like, no, not anymore. So I have that issue, which is it sounds so stupid saying it out loud, but if you tell me what to do, I don't want to do it. So some will be like, oh, shouldn't you be working out right now? Like, didn't you say you're gonna work out? And I'm like, oh, I'll do it, I'll get to it later, and then I just don't. So the consistency has always been an issue, and it's something that I'm working on, but again, I realize every time I try to do this like overhaul, it's too much for me. And I do potentially have like an underlying reason for that. I'm not diagnosed officially with this, and I don't want to say it because I don't want people getting in my face about everything. So there's something that I think that I have, that I've had for a long time, that never went diagnosed or never got noticed, and I found how it's affected me in daily life. And it's one of those things, and I can understand why it affects my consistency and my ability to do the fitness thing, amongst other things. And making the time for fitness, that's my issue, is the making of the time. So, consistency, working on it. Can't do overhauls, have to do baby steps. So again, a little bit of yoga here, a little bit of stretching here, a little bit of fitness here, a little bit of treadmill there. We have an at-home gym. Not a lot of stuff, but enough stuff. So now the nicer weather's here and hopefully stays, because we did have snow about a week ago, which was scary. I like to go for walks. If I can't go outside, I need to motivate myself to go on the treadmill. I like weights. I like lifting weights. Weights are a fun thing for me to do. We now have a punching bag, which you would have seen in last week's vlog. So I've got things around me that I can do. I can do calisthenics where I'm just worrying about my body weight. So it's just getting in the right headspace and not putting all this extra pressure on myself, even though I'm kind of like, hey, how many days till my birthday? How many days till I'm 30? Like, want to be in peak shape. So like, I am my own worst enemy. And that mental challenge is the hardest part. So I think that's kind of everything. And again, I know this kind of sounds like a video writing about myself and my body. One of the reasons I'm so self-conscious about it is that I want to have a family in the next couple of years. And I want to make sure that I'm in the best shape that I can be, and that Scott's in the best shape he can be for our future. And I want to make sure that I can lose that baby fat, and that I can kind of bounce back, if you will. And again, I want to use that lightly because everybody's perfect, everybody's body is so great. But I just want to feel comfortable and happy in my skin. And again, that's going to be a balancing act between my mental and my physical abilities. And so I'm gonna make my baby steps. And so this is my pledge to myself, that I will not kill myself over how my body looks, that I will make the changes that I can, that are reasonable, that I will praise myself and be happy with the body that lets me breathe and sleep and work and lift things and do all these things, to kind of respect my body in that sense, and just to know that I can do it. I can do it. It's a mental pep talk. So if you've been struggling, let me know. And I know it's really hard for people to reach out and talk about this, so please don't hesitate in the comments. I would love to hear your stories and be your cheerleader for you, so please don't hesitate to share. Also, if you could share this video, I would really appreciate that, because I want to spread this conversation. I want to make sure that it's always in the forefront, that we're not pushing it back, and that we women, we rock. Our bodies do amazing things. So thanks for listening, thanks for checking in, and I will see you guys in my next video. See ya!